There was a time when friendship among the Orisha looked unbreakable. The bond between Orunmila, Ogun, Sango, and Eshu was the kind people spoke about with admiration. They were not just allies, they were brothers in spirit, men who ate together, laughed together, traveled together, and understood one another beyond ordinary friendship. They did not wait for festivals before gathering. They did not need special occasions before drinking palm wine together deep into the night. Some evenings, one of them would simply appear at another's compound unannounced, and before long, laughter would fill the air. Freshly roasted yam would be brought out, palm wine would flow endlessly, stories would rise and fall under moonlight, while drums echoed faintly from distant compounds. Among them all, Orunmila carried a special kind of calm wisdom. He was the one people ran to whenever confusion swallowed their lives. Kings consulted him, hunters consulted him, farmers consulted him before planting, women prayed to him when their homes became troubled. He understood secrets hidden from ordinary eyes because Ifa spoke to him in ways others could never fully understand. And because Orunmila's wisdom touched so many lives, his friends benefited from it too. Whenever Ogun prepared for war or needed clarity before a dangerous journey, he visited Orunmila. Whenever Sango's temper threatened to cloud his judgment, it was often Orunmila who settled him with patient words. Even Eshu, unpredictable as he was, respected Orunmila deeply because he knew true wisdom when he saw it. The friendship between the four became known far beyond their town. People admired them because power rarely sits together peacefully for long. Yet, somehow, these four moved like men tied by destiny itself. But life has a way of hiding storms inside peaceful skies. Time rolled quietly forward. Days became months, months became years. One morning, as he often did, Orunmila decided to consult Ifa for himself. It was not unusual. A man who guides others must also seek guidance. So before sunrise fully spread across the earth, Orunmila sat before the sacred tree. The atmosphere was still. The air carried the coldness of early morning. Even the birds seemed quieter than usual. The priests began the divination carefully. At first, everything looked normal. Then, the message changed. The expressions on the faces of the priests slowly darkened. One of them paused. Another looked at Orunmila silently, as though debating whether to speak immediately or soften the truth first. Orunmila himself noticed the tension immediately. "It is what?" he asked calmly. The oldest priest sighed deeply before speaking. "Ifa says danger surrounds you." Orunmila's eyes narrowed slightly. The priest continued, "Danger not from strangers, not danger from distant enemies. Your enemies sit close to you, very close." Silence swallowed the room. Even the wind outside seemed to disappear. For the first time in a long while, genuine unease entered Orunmila's heart. Close to him? How? Orunmila was loved by many. His household was large. Followers visited daily. Friends surrounded him constantly. But among all these people, who carried hidden darkness towards him? His mind immediately wandered through faces, family, servants, followers, friends. Still, he could not settle on anybody. The priests instructed him to make sacrifice immediately so the danger would not mature into tragedy. Without hesitation, Orunmila provided everything required: kola nuts, palm oil, pigeons, offerings, sacred items. Nothing was missing. The sacrifice was performed carefully. Days passed afterwards, but peace did not return to Orunmila's mind. The message haunted him constantly. Your enemies sit close to you. At night, he replayed conversations in his head. He remembered smiles, laughter, promises of loyalty. Yet the more he thought, the more uncertain he became. Human beings can hide jealousy beneath friendship so perfectly that only time exposes them.
Then, one evening, while sitting alone in deep thought, an idea entered his mind. A dangerous idea, a painful idea, but perhaps the only way to know the truth. Orunmila decided he would stage his own death. He would watch how people behaved when they believed he was gone forever. Only one trusted person was informed. Nobody else knew. Not his family, not the town, not even his closest friends. Together, they planned everything carefully. Orunmila instructed the man to cut a large banana stem from the farm, thick and heavy enough to resemble a human body. It was wrapped completely in white cloth, exactly the way corpses were prepared. From a distance, nobody would suspect anything. The day was chosen. And when that day arrived, the entire town woke into sorrow. News spread like wildfire. Orunmila is dead. People abandoned what they were doing instantly. Women cried openly. Old men shook their heads in disbelief. Young followers ran barefoot through dusty roads trying to confirm the terrible news. By afternoon, Orunmila's compound was overflowing with mourners. Some wept loudly. Some sat in stunned silence. Some praised his greatness while crying. The atmosphere carried a heavy pain that only follows the death of someone deeply loved. Meanwhile, unknown to everybody below, Orunmila himself sat hidden on the rooftop of his house, where he could see everything clearly while remaining unseen. From there, he watched humanity reveal itself. He watched genuine grief. He watched forced sorrow. He watched eyes that looked more curious than heartbroken. And he waited patiently for his three friends. The first to arrive was Ogun. The sound of his arrival carried weight. People shifted aside respectfully as the mighty warrior approached the compound. His face looked serious but controlled. He stood beside the supposed corpse for a moment. Then something unexpected happened. Ogun cleared his throat and spoke. Orunmila's big he-goat, the one he has raised for years. People turned toward him. Ogun continued calmly. He once told me it would someday belong to me. From the rooftop, Orunmila's face hardened slightly. That goat was no ordinary animal. It was one of his most prized possessions. He had nurtured it with great care. Yet barely moments after arriving at his friend's funeral, Ogun's mind had already turned toward inheritance. Before Orunmila could fully process it, another familiar presence entered the compound. Sango had arrived. Thunderous in appearance as always, Sango walked dramatically through the crowd. People greeted him respectfully while making way for him. He stood before the wrapped banana stem silently. Then, after a moment, he spoke too. "That large rooster of Orunmila, the one with the beautiful red comb." He paused. "I want it." Again, the crowd murmured quietly. From above, Orunmila closed his eyes slowly. The rooster Sango requested was famous throughout the compound. Powerful, beautiful, majestic. And just like Ogun, Sango's attention had drifted toward possession before the dust of mourning could even settle. Orunmila's heart became heavy. Not because of the goat, not because of the rooster, but because small desires often expose hidden truths inside people. Then suddenly, noise erupted near the entrance. Eshu had arrived.
Unlike the others, Eshu looked completely shattered. He had reportedly been cutting his hair when the news reached him. He did not even finish properly before rushing straight to Orunmila's compound. Sweat covered his body. Dust stained his feet. His breathing was uneven from running. The moment Eshu saw the wrapped figure on the ground, something inside him broke completely. He screamed. Not the controlled cry of somebody trying to look emotional. A real scream, the kind pulled directly from the soul. Eshu fell to the floor, rolling in grief. He beat his chest repeatedly. Tears streamed freely down his face as people struggled to calm him. Then, he crawled toward the supposed corpse and grabbed the feet tightly.
"Orunmila," he cried, "how can you live like this?" His voice cracked painfully. "We still have plans together. You promised we would do many things together. You cannot abandon me like this." The compound became silent, watching Eshu mourn. His pain looked raw, real, uncontrolled. And above them all, hidden on the rooftop, Orunmila felt emotion rise inside him. Because while others had thought first about possessions, Eshu thought only about losing his friend. Slowly, Orunmila stood up. Step by step, he began descending from the rooftop staircase. At first, nobody noticed him. Then, one person screamed. Another staggered backward. Fear exploded through the compound instantly. People scattered. Women shrieked. Some believed they were seeing a ghost. Even Ogun and Sango froze completely. Then, Orunmila began to recite.
The entire compound fell into stunned silence. Ogun's expression collapsed into shame. Sango lowered his head slowly. Neither of them could speak. Their actions had exposed them. Meanwhile, Eshu remained on the ground still crying, almost unable to believe Orunmila was alive. Orunmila walked directly toward him. Then, gently, he lifted Eshu up. There was no anger in his eyes at that moment, only understanding. Because now he had seen the truth hidden inside all their hearts. Orunmila embraced Eshu tightly and promised never to forget the loyalty he had shown that day. From that moment forward, whenever sacrifices were made, offerings would always first be dropped at Eshu's spot, in remembrance of the friend whose grief proved genuine when everybody else revealed themselves. And the story spread far beyond the town, not merely as a tale about friendship, but as a warning. Because sometimes people can laugh with you, eat with you, drink with you, and still quietly calculate what they will gain when you are gone. And sometimes the loudest loyalty is not found in words spoken during good times, but in tears shed when loss feels real.